call the September 1st meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chaplewski.
Excused.
Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Reinke.
Excused.
Rote.
Here.
8 present, 2 excused.
We have a quorum. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Alderman Vitale this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a presentation this evening. I would like to ask Captain Barry Waddell and John Serqua and Jax and Joe Mettinger to come up to the podium here. You want to do the podium there, Barry? Or? Sure. Sorry.
You guys want to go up front?
Either way.
Okay, why don't you guys go up front then?
Joe Mettinger is the owner of J.H. Mettinger Company located on Greenfield in West Allis. And earlier this year, he did a fundraiser at his business where he had, I believe, grilled out hot dogs and was giving food away in exchange for a donation. And that donation was going to go to the West Allis Police Department K-9 unit. I believe it was over $300 and some that was raised. And we are doing a public recognition and thank you to the Mettinger Company this evening. And we obviously have one of our K-9 officers with us. And I know right now we're going to have a little bit of a few comments about the K-9 unit.
Just real briefly, actually I'll make my comments about Mettingers. They've been a proud supporter for the K-9 unit now for the past 4 years. They've been a major sponsor at our golf outing each year, donating an outdoor powered equipment, which is usually brings quite a decent amount on our raffles. So they've enjoyed donating, and I think they just truly enjoy the program as well. So again, I just want to thank you for your past years of support as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Joe, thank you. We appreciate that. You have a check you can give to Captain Waddell. It's very important to the city's ability to continue programs like these, and we have good community partners, so thank you very much for that assistance and donations. We will move on to item E on our agenda's public hearings. We have 2 items this evening. I will ask the clerk to read our first item.
A hearing on the improvement of the parking lot located along West Cleveland Avenue at the southwest corner of South 84th Street and West Cleveland Avenue by major asphalt resurface with miscellaneous walk repair.
Mr. Daniels?
Thank you, Mayor Devine. Okay, this is the public hearing for the Cleveland Avenue parking lot. This is the procedures for tonight's hearing. The project scope and cost will be discussed. Then we'll go through assessment rates and methods of payment. Then we'll have comments and questions from the Common Council and citizens affected. And then the public hearing will be closed and the project will be referred to the Public Works Committee for discussion and vote later tonight. And then there will be a final decision by the full council back in here later tonight. Here are the limits of the project. We're just talking about this asphalt parking lot on the south side of Cleveland, west side of 84th Street. We would just do the part that's outlined here with new asphalt. The existing asphalt's from 1969, so it's 46 years old. It's severely cracked, potholed. City crews are having to fill potholes. As I said, it was all installed in 1969. Routine maintenance is difficult and expensive at this point. It's completely seen the limits of its days. So the project would include curb and gutter being repaired as needed. We're not taking it all out, but just the part that might be bad. A whole new asphalt surface would be placed. Any of the sidewalk that needs to be done would be done at that time as well, not all of it. The parking lines, the parking stall lines would be repainted. We would have to relocate parking out onto the street so that we could do the paving for a week or two. I don't think it will be a long project, but we can't be parking there while they're working there, so. I didn't have a really good picture, but this is what it'll look like. It'll be a nice black surface with curb, with sidewalk fixed as needed. Obviously, this is not a parking lot, but it would look something like this. Here's a little bit of the history that I was able to find in some of the old files. In 1969, the city attorney ruled that since this parking area is used exclusively for the benefit of the adjacent shop owners, they should bear the total cost of the development and maintenance for this. So as a result, there were agreements between the city and these property owners for the construction of this parking lot that were signed between March and May of 1969. In the agreements, the city agreed to construct the parking lot, and the property owners agreed to pay special assessments for the cost of this parking lot. So then the city council did approve these agreements on March 4th and May 20th of 1969. And then I did find a memo from the city attorney in 1969 where he said the following, quote, these agreements do not preclude our making an assessment for resurfacing or reconstruction at some future date when the present pavement has reached the end of its economic life. And I would say that that day has come. So here is the expected cost, $40,000. Sample special assessment, there's only a few lots there. This a 96-foot lot, that's actually 2 lots, but the rate's $135. The cost of the property owner is going to be $13,054. The bills would not be mailed out until March of 2016 at the earliest. You would have payment options available, including a lump sum payment, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. If you were to choose the 10-year period, assuming 4% interest, the special assessments would range from $1,800, $1,827 in the year 2016, to $1,357 in the year 2025. Here's a little explanation on assessments. We have been special assessing for over 100 years. Residents have historically paid the full cost, 100% of a new street in front of their property, in order to enjoy the unique benefit that this improvement gives their individual property. And on this project, the city will collect $40,000 in assessments, which is 100% of the project cost. The assessment rate is $135 per foot for all the properties on this project, so everyone is being treated equally based on their front foot. Special assessments are the only way to ensure that tax-exempt schools, churches, charities, hospitals, county parks, utilities, and railroads pay their fair share too. No one is exempt from special assessments, even though there are 430 properties in the city that do not pay any property taxes. And many of these tax-exempt schools, churches, hospitals, and county parks are very large properties and only contribute to the city's costs through special assessments. This is a map of everyone who has paid a special assessment in the past 10 years. And as you can see, everyone is paying their fair share. Most have already paid for their street or alley in front of their property over the past 10 years. And as far as the interest rate, the city does borrow the funds for this project. And the city pays interest to these municipal bond holders over the next 10 years. So the city is passing along these interest charges to any resident or property owner that chooses the 5 or 10-year payment plan. The city is not making a profit off of the interest charged. So at that point, if there's any comments or questions from the council or citizens, they will now be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Do we have any questions or comments from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May?
Pete, who owns the land under the parking lot?
The city.
Okay, so why don't we try selling that land?
Well, we can't sell it, but we could certainly vacate it, but the property owners would have to work out mutual access easements between each other. They would all have to get lawyers and write up agreements with each other so that they could cross each other's land and park in front of each other's businesses. Otherwise, theoretically, someone could kick out someone who was parking in front of their spot, in front of their business. In order to keep it open to everyone, you'd have to have a series of easements. So that could be done. It would be there would be an expense for the property owners to get the lawyers to make the easements.
So basically you can't take the piece of land and just say, here you go, all three of you own it. I mean, obviously they have to agree to that, but what you're saying is there's three owners?
They would
You have to
each,
trifurcate the
they would each get the part directly in front of their business. So when we vacate, you get the part directly in front of your business. You don't get the part over here, you don't get the part over there, you only get the part that's right in front of you. So you would only get this much of the parking lot, and you would have no way to get to your part of the parking lot unless you crossed somebody else's land. So
The history on this is it used to be a gravel parking lot at one time,
if you go way back,
to
right,
main road.
right.
The reason this was done was some sort of court settlement.
That's what I've been able to ascertain. I mean, the file is 2 inches thick, but there was a lawsuit. This was part of the agreement that settled the lawsuit, I guess, that it was a compromise. I don't think the property owner wanted to. I think we were buying some of the property from him and he didn't want to sell. But I have not read through the whole file in detail. But
And from what I understand, again, from your presentation, they're going to be paying the entire cost.
yes, no tax money will be used.
And they will continue to pay us rent.
Yes, that was in their agreement, that they would continue to pay for maintenance as well. So,
I'll save my comments for later.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick?
I guess, Mr. Daniels, we don't currently plow that lot, do we? I believe the property owners there plow the lot and keep it all winter.
okay.
So the city
believe
has no
you're-
expense for plowing on that lot.
Any other questions from the Common Council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close our public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit for Curtis Ambulance, a proposed ambulance service facility to be located at 5100 West Lincoln Avenue.
Mr. Scher?
Thank you, Mayor. Our next hearing is for Curtis Ambulance, who is proposing to locate a garage facility here at 5100 West Lincoln Avenue. It's the building. It's a multi-tenant building. They would be occupying about 4,800 square feet of this space. The property sits on about 1.3 acres at the easternmost point of the city. The property literally points to the east. The zoning is M1 manufacturing. Ambulance service facilities are permitted as special uses within the manufacturing zoning district. And they would be operating an ambulance substation. They would have approximately 2 ambulances located within the garage warehouse at this facility. Up to 6 employees, which would include 4 EMTs and 2 mechanics. And the service area is essentially the southwestern portion of the city of Milwaukee, including West Allis and West Milwaukee, the village of West Milwaukee. The proposed hours of operation are 24/7. And this is just another, I guess, illustration of the service area. The greater Milwaukee area, West Allis highlighted, the blue line generally designates their range of service. This is a copy of the existing site plan for the property. There's a total of 42 parking spaces on site, and ambulances will be parked within the building. This is the actual area that they're going to be leasing from the owner of the property. This larger block here is the garage. All ambulances will be housed within that garage, excepting when they get a call, and they'll be leaving the site via Lincoln Avenue. 4 parking stalls are actually required for this use, and this is just some existing photos of the site. There will be some updates made to the property with the property owner's cooperation. And Plan Commission has recommended approval back in July 22nd, and there have been no objections received to date. And I should note that the ambulance facility is proposing, or has a policy, I should say, which is a quiet, to promote quiet neighborhood. They will not be turning on their siren. After getting a call, they will be leaving the site with their lights on, but not the sirens. And they've got a 2-block radius, at which point they would turn the sirens on. So that concludes my presentation. If there are any questions, you can take those now.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there comments or questions from the alderman? Okay, seeing none, are there any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2. And we will now move on to item F on your agendas, which is citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. We ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes, and we try to keep this portion of our agenda to approximately 30 minutes. Is there anybody that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? If you do, we ask that you approach the microphone and give us your name and address for our official record, and then sign in on the clipboard after or before your comments.
I'm already signed in.
Okay.
My name is Elspeth O'Vannon. I live at 8916 West National. And I'm here because I tried to make a complaint with the West Allis City Attorney, who referred me to this council. And basically, why I'm here is that I have a complaint against Lynette Wiedner, who's the director of the Cat Network, a cat rescue shelter on 81st and National. I'm in a situation that has been going on for nearly 2 years. She agreed to foster some of my cats. Some of my cats I got back, which were all sick, and one cat she claims has died. She provided an attorney that was trying to help me with a document saying the cat was euthanized. Wasn't this description of my cat? So up to this time, I have not received any valid proof of what happened to my cat. And I've been to the Better Business Bureau, I've been to the West Allis Police, Milwaukee Police, the Consumer Office of Trade and Agriculture. I've been everywhere, and nothing is being done. And I know people will say, well, this is about an animal, but this is a cat that I took care of, that I rescued. I'm a former volunteer of this cat network at 81st and National. I volunteered there for several years, 2008 to 2011. And I don't understand why I cannot get any assistance in getting this matter resolved. I've even been to small claims court in Milwaukee, and again, because it's an animal, this case didn't go anywhere. It's unresolved. So I guess I'm at the end of my rope here, but because this shelter is in West Allis, I think that you should know about it, because the shelter is not run in an ethical and professional manner. As I mentioned before, I'm a former volunteer, and she is not even a 501c charity. She refuses to even apply to go legit with this. She gets public donations from people in West Allis and outside to run the shelter. I've talked to someone at your health department who gave her prior notice before he made an inspection, which really didn't do anything because she, had the shelter all cleaned up. But there have been health issues there, cats being held in cages for too long of a time. And now this situation, me, a former volunteer, who I had a temporary arrangement to have her care for my cats came back sick, and now she's saying, well, one died, with a phony documentation. So I'm here at the suggestion of your city attorney to try to get any kind of assistance. I don't know what else to do. And I think you should know, because this shelter is being operated in your community here, that you should know that these things are going on. And I don't know what your legal or what you can do, if you have like legal city guidelines of how to properly run an animal shelter. That could only help, because this has been going on for years. A lot of people like myself worked with her, because the other alternative with stray animals is to take them to Maddock. And I know they're a little bit better on their euthanization records, but most of the time, even for little reasons, if the cat can still be adopted, they'll choose to euthanize the animal, and the animal has no chance. So to conclude here, if there is anything you can do to send her a letter, contact her, to let her know that, you know, she's not above board with her reputation, anything you can do in helping me to find out what she did with my cat, if she adopted it out, or if she can get other proof of what actually happened to my cat, I would appreciate it. If there's anything you can do to send her guidelines as some kind of warning to let her know she cannot continue to run the shelter in this manner. Because when you look at it from the long view, it is a kind of community service as opposed to just Milwaukee Animal Control taking all these animals. But there's a lot of problems here. A lot of people are afraid to speak up, don't want to get involved. But because of what happened to me, I have to come here and say something because this really cannot continue. So other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation?
I'm Yuri Ksenia. I live at 1131 South United Street. Let's see, how do I follow up that? I guess, okay, last time, we have an event coming up in La Follette Park on September 12th from 4 to 6. We have a band playing, they're called Garlic Mustard Pickers, and we also have barbecue for sale from 4 to 6 p.m. Trying to keep it on the lighter side again. So that's something that's coming up on, about 10 days. So September 12th from 4 to 6 p.m. at La Follette Park. Just want to invite everyone here to come to that.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation and we will move on to item G on your agendas. The standing committees of this body will be meeting during recess, and the room numbers for these committees are listed on page 1 of your agendas. Proceeding to item H, the mayor's report. Just a couple of items this evening to announce. As a lot of parents and people in the community know, today was the first day for the West Allis West Milwaukee School District. I just want to remind everybody to drive safely, give yourself extra time, and anticipate traffic and congestion in our neighborhoods that contain schools. I can say I'm guilty of being late, but you still have to obey the laws and stop at the stop signs and use the traffic routes that are set up by the schools in the city to hopefully keep traffic flowing as smoothly as possible in these areas. One other thing I wanted to mention is earlier this year I had reached out to the organization, or the organizers rather, of Doors Open Milwaukee, and tried to get some of the facilities within West Allis involved in that, because it seems like they're doing a lot of the same Milwaukee facilities over and over, and wanted to try to give people a few other options out in the suburbs to take a look at. And I'm happy to say that the 5th District School, which is more commonly known as the Historical Society's Museum on 84th and National, did make the list for Doors Open this year. They are also looking at Inspiration Studios and a couple other buildings and facilities for next year, but this is going to be taking place on September 19th and 20th. And if you haven't checked out the museum recently, because they do have limited hours due to their dependency on volunteers, this is the perfect opportunity to take a look at that museum and that facility. Recently, the Wisconsin Economic Development Association, WEDA, had awarded a building in West Allis their 2015 Real Estate Redevelopment and Reuse Award, and that building was where Johnson Controls went in at 801 South 60th Street. It was recognized for turning a vacant industrial space into a 120,000 square foot state-of-the-art office complex, created a total of 1,100 new employment opportunities, and contributed contributed $20.8 million of new taxable value. So I want to say congratulations to the owners, Joel Lee at the Renaissance Center and his team at Van Buren Management, as well as the staff on the city side, including the excellent legal work by our city attorney's office. And lastly, I have also been working with the Shepherd Express on their Street Eats programming, and I'm happy to say that on October 10th, they are going to be adding a Oktoberfest event in conjunction with the West Allis Farmers Market. They are going to be having food from about 15 local restaurants. They're going to be having cold beer, traditional Oktoberfest music, and Hammerschlagen. Now, those of you that don't know what Hammerschlagen is, it's that game where you stand in a circle with a hammer and drive a nail into a big piece of wood. So, I've never played it, but I'm looking forward to trying it on October 10th. That concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Probst?
Last week, there was a post put on nextdoor.com by Lieutenant Nolte regarding a program that the police department is looking into with neighbors and residents that have cameras for their own homes. If those cameras could potentially help the police solving a crime, and you are interested in doing that, you can contact the West Allis Police Department and get on their list of residents and/or businesses that have cameras that would be more than happy to assist. Second, we had a issue night before last in the 2nd District along the railroad tracks with a number of tagging incidences that went on. Businesses were tagged, some vehicles were tagged, and I want everyone that is in that area, I put a post out already on Nextdoor and on my Facebook page, be vigilant if you are in that area. This tagging is occurring after dark, and it is occurring on both sides of the railroad tracks, between 73rd and 68th. So if you're in that area, please pay attention and potentially help the police in getting these people that are destroying personal property. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Probst. Are there any other reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick?
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of August 4th, 2015.
Second?
There is a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Items 4 through 7. I'm sorry, 4 through, let's take a look here. Place items 4 through 6 on file, and item 7, and then refer items 8 through 10 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Weigel, second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, License and Health Committee.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Roth. Forgot Alderman Chaplesky wasn't there.
Yes, he's running out of knees. I'd like to bring the council's attention to items 12 through 29. There were various bartender licenses, Class B tavern licenses, all subject to necessary requirements, and miscellaneous reports and communications to be placed on file. Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee's decision. All 5 members were present also.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Probst. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Vitale. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are in recess.
Okay. And where's that stamp that Nick has?
Just make a note.